Welcome, language enthusiasts, to another exciting episode of the Learn and Listen podcast. I'm Sarah, and with me today is my co-host, Michael.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Today, we're going to spice up your English with some fantastic idioms for everyday conversations.
That's right, Michael. And speaking of spicing things up, let's kick things off with our first idiom, break the ice.
Oh, that's a great one to start with, Sarah. When we say break the ice, we're not talking about actually breaking frozen water. It means to
do or say something that makes people feel more relaxed in a social situation, especially when meeting for the first time.
Exactly. For example, you might say, to break the ice at the party, I told a funny joke about my cat.
That's a perfect example, Michael. Now, let's move on to our next idiom. It's raining cats and dogs up.
I love this one. It always creates such a funny image in my mind. But what does it actually mean, Sarah?
Well, it doesn't mean that pets are falling from the sky. It's used to describe very heavy rain. For instance, I can't go for a walk now. It's raining cats and dogs outside.
That's right. And here's a tip for our listeners. This idiom is often used in casual conversations about the weather.
Great point, Michael. Now, let's talk about a very common idiom, to be on cloud nine.
Oh, I'm on cloud nine just talking about idioms. Laugh softly. But seriously, this phrase means to be extremely happy or elated.
Exactly. You might say, after getting a promotion at work, John was on cloud nine for weeks.
That's a great example, Sarah. Now, here's one that might confuse some of our learners. To cost an arm and a leg.
Ah, yes. This doesn't mean you're actually trading body parts. It's used to say that something is very expensive.
Right you are. For example, the new smartphone costs an arm and a leg, but I really want it.
Perfect. Now, let's look at an idiom that's all about time, to kill time.
This sounds a bit violent, doesn't it? But it's actually quite harmless. To kill time means
to do something while waiting for something else to happen or to fill time when you're bored. Like, I played games on my phone to kill time while waiting for my flight.
Excellent explanation, Sarah. Now, here's one that might make our listeners scratch their heads. To be under the weather.
Oh, I felt under the weather last week. It means to feel ill or sick.
That's right. You might hear someone say, I can't come to work today. I'm feeling a bit under the weather.
Now, let's wrap up with one more idiom to hit the nail on the head.
This is a great one. When you hit the nail on the head, you're not actually using a hammer. It means
to describe exactly what is causing a situation or problem, or to do exactly the right thing.
Precisely. For instance, when the teacher explained why students were struggling with the lesson, she really hit the nail on the head.
Aha!
Wonderful example, Michael. Now, before we end today's episode, we have a fun challenge for our listeners.
That's right. We want you to create a short story using at least 3 of the idioms we discussed today. Share your stories in the comments section of our YouTube video.
We can't wait to read your creative uses of these idioms. Remember, practice makes perfect, so don't be afraid to use these in your everyday conversations.
That's all for today's episode of Learn and Listen. We hope you enjoyed learning these idioms and found them useful.
Until next time, keep learning, keep listening, and keep speaking English.
Goodbye, everyone.